Lads and ladies, welcome to episode 1 of season 3 of the Sorare Road to Glory. That's right, I decided to start a new season of the Road to Glory because fuck it, why not? Now this episode is all about my club being restructured for next season, and obviously I'm not fucking psychic, at least not as far as I'm aware, but I have a feeling this could be one of the longest Sorare Road to Glory videos yet, and you all know I don't like to make my videos too long, so I won't blame you if you want to click off the channel right now, but if you do stick around, do the like and subscribe ting.
Hello, darkness, my old...
As per the YouTube clickbait rules, I've put the amount of money I've spent on my new cards in the thumbnail in pure clickbait fashion, and we'll go over them in more detail momentarily, but to prove I'm not absolutely full of shit, here are all the players I've purchased in the last month or so. This guy, 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 this guy as well. I got this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. I got this guy. Spent this much money on this guy or girl, depending on what they identify as. This guy, and of course, how could I forget this guy? Oh, and this guy. And this guy? Fucking hell, that was something. So yeah, I did actually spend over $3,000 of the Queen's finest money on cards for my new season teams. And you might be asking, Royalivi, you are shit at So5, how can you possibly afford this? Well, that's a great question, everyone, and to answer that, it's actually none of your fucking business, so... yeah. Okay, but on a real level, I've sold some players. I flipped this Jose Anglo in the space of a week for a cheeky 0.105 Ethereum profit. Only bought them on the back of some advice from some people I speak with about Sorare things, but at the end of the day, I have no use for super rares. If anything, I need to avoid them like the plague at this stage in my Sorare career, which is why I'm also happy to offload this Brian Acosta as part of my David Turnbull acquisition, as well as this Tobias Keynes for 0.1 Ethereum. Got a few super rares in a few months back when they announced the new special weeklies, but even then, just don't get the use out of these players to not justify selling them, and I will certainly be avoiding super rares for the foreseeable future. I then ended up selling my Martins Indy as well for 0.265 Ethereum, a bit weird making a fiat loss but Ethereum gain with certain players after the recent crypto crash, but I'm trying to avoid looking at it that way. I simply needed to sell Martins Indy to facilitate my limited replacements in the club, so it's all relative really. Great player for AZ, but as you will see later when I showcase my teams, he was a surplus card that I could afford to sell. Same situation for my 1 out of 100 rare Mitso. Don't take too much stock in the card being 1 out of 100, you know, don't think he's a big enough player for it to impact the price of his card too much, but in any case he paved the way for Hotta to join the club. Hota? Jota? Jota? Fuck, I actually don't know how to say that. Anyway, Jota joined the club. He'll hopefully be a beast for Celtic when a permanent deal is done. So out of respect for Mitso, I'm wearing his shirt today. Shit, I've wrote the script and forgot to put the shirt on, but just pretend this is an AZ shirt, alright? I do have one. Do you want me to put it on? I'll go put it on. For fuck's sake, man. Well, I couldn't find my Mitso shirt, alright, so I got on this Greece shirt, which is basically the same thing. But anyway, Mitso's done a lot for this club. He's not done much. He's not done much. But I like the bloke, and he's contributed to plenty of fresh odds in his time here. So thanks for the memories, Mitso and Martins Indy. You'll both be missed. This Cameron Harper rare then sold for 0.125 Ethereum, which I was very content with. Bought him last year for under 0.01 Ethereum, so I've made a 15 times profit on him in Ethereum terms, which is a proper madness. All he did was pop up with an assist and then a goal in running game weeks, and his price skyrocketed. Another MLS forward departs the club in Benji McKell. He got a goal in the opening game of the season. I thought, here we go. He's finally going to break out and show what a player he can be. Yeah, no, he's certainly not broken out. If anything, he's just broke. So yeah, Benji McKell has left the club for about 0.06 Ethereum. I also sold a few stragglers in the club, such as Pepe, Edwards, Jimenez, Bahich, Acosta, Van Ruij, my limited Bill Hamid. Even sold this Michael Nelson rare for 0.13 Ethereum after he got a game for Houston. So yeah, no room for sentiment or backup players here with the club being restructured, so they were all casualties out of the door to get me some extra funds. And on that note, I also sold 2 Abdel Nuruddin rares for 0.45 and 0.44 Ethereum respectively. Not gonna lie, took fairly hefty fiat losses here, but then again, they were both decently sized Ethereum gains, so definitely a strange kind of beast trying to maneuver the transfer market at the moment. Now I had plans for a rare under 23 team next season, but after Kaz Eupen signed Leonard Moser in goal as well, I completely bottled it. I shat a metaphorical brick, so to speak. So I offloaded both Nuruddins. No idea who the number 1 will be in goal for Kaz Eupen next season, Nuruddin or Moser, but the simple fact is that it cannot be both of them, so I fucked off any ideas of a rare under 23 team next season, and I'm still holding onto a bit of Ethereum currently in the club, just in case I need some early season reinforcements to my new lineups. But before I show you my new lineups, let's first check out how I've got on in So5 in recent weeks. Welcome to a brand new episode of Royalivi being an idiot, starring Royalivi. Also starring Royalivi, but he's wearing sunglasses inside for some reason. Doing your teams for game week 274, right, bro? Yeah, that's correct. Doing my teams right now. Cool. Well, hey, just remember, Mitso went off injured last game, all right? So don't pick him. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks. I didn't realize. I mean, he might be back in time for the game anyway, so you know. Well, yeah, well, but you've got other options you can use instead of risking having a DMP, though, right? Yeah, I have other options I could use, yeah. So you're gonna use one of those other players then, right? Oh, well, you know, Mitso's he's a really nice bloke, isn't he? So I wouldn't want to do that to him, so. Yeah, I'm sure he's a very nice bloke, but he's injured, okay? So, you know, just don't pick him. Okay, yeah, okay, I mean, maybe I won't pick him. Not fucking maybe, just don't pick him. Pick someone else, man. Fuck. All right. I hear you loud and clear, man. But you can go fuck yourself because I'm putting him in the team. Well, shit, Mitso didn't play. I mean, who would have saw that coming? I fucked it. I fucked it up, alright. I take full responsibility for making the risky selection in Mitso, so despite Kyoto's 2 banging goals and a Brad Stuver penalty save, I only hit the first threshold this week. Now, if I had selected Neelis over Mitso, I would have hit the second threshold, but there you go. There you go. You fucking piece of shit. Anyway, Limited All-Star was pish. I'm mad I got a red card for something after the final whistle. I mean, I think he did. It wasn't in the highlights, so I don't actually know what he was throwing his toys out the pram about, but he is now suspended for 3 games, so that's nice. In America Limited, I squeezed into those rewards for a tier 3 card, which, you know, hey, is something. I got this Juninho, who I immediately sold for £5. Morgan, my captain, scored a goal and a great 4-1 win for New York Red Bulls, and then Hamid, my keeper, let in 4 goals and a big loss for DC United against New York Red Bulls. So yeah, another fuck up. Should have put Ivacic in there, alright, might have won a tier 2 if I had, but it's all Gucci because I had a nice break until game week 278 after this, where I then won absolutely nothing. Cool. In game week 279 then, I only had 1 team out in the Limited All-Star competition. I loaned a goalkeeper for it as well, but like a fucking dumbass, I forgot that a day prior to the entry cutoff, I had bought Çalhanoğlu, and he didn't make it into the team then because I forgot to put him in. And, you know, he went out and scored 100 out of 100. So, yeah. Game week 280 then, and it's not so much that I fucked up, it's just that my Limited MLS players were arranged incorrectly. But by me, so I did fuck up again. Some nice green scores dotted around these 2 teams as you can see, yet all I have for my hard work is the shitty tier 3 Limited Tariq. I mean, if I had put Stuver and Carlos Gil into that second team, that's a tier 1 score right there, but hey, I didn't, so the fuck ups continue. In Gas 4, however, I had a successful week. Some strong scores from Stuver and Neelis there with yet another goal for my boy, Andre Shiny Ashiki. Shame that Kyoto was a substitute and Acosta didn't do more, as I may have had a chance at a cheeky tier 3, but hey, the aim is the second threshold, especially while the F price is in the bin, so happy to bag the 0.043 Ethereum here. Game week 282 then, and once again, I fucked up. In fact, I've pretty much fucked up every game week this episode, so that's yeah, that's cool, and this time, I mean, I didn't check any injury or suspension news as I was going away for the weekend, so I was a bit rushed and slapdash with regards to putting my teams in, and it cost me, as on this America Limited side, I captained the injured Jack Price, and in my All-Star side, I selected the suspended Brian Acosta. Truly fantastic gameplay from me right there. I mean, really, I was a bit fucked for options here anyway. It was either Acosta or Cal, who were both unavailable. Guess I could have always gone for a comment in midfield had I noticed, but whatever. This then wasn't helped by a COVID outbreak at Charlotte FC, rolling out my captain Andre Shiny Ashiki here, so a bit devid about this one after some strong scores from Kyoto and Stuver. But don't worry, in game 283, myself and the lads made up for it by squeezing out a second threshold. Neelis with a crucial goal line clearance here securing the bag. Unfortunately, the Limited teams were dead in the water, so let's move on to the final game week of the episode. Game week 284, where I mean, it was almost the exact same situation. The Limited teams were dead in the water thanks to DMPs. Absolutely no idea why Ivacic was benched, though. Apparently, there was planned to be lots of rotation this game week in the MLS, but like, you know, who the fuck rotates a goalkeeper to give them a rest? I mean, they fucking stand in the box all game. But the MLS lads once again squeezed out the second threshold for me. Started off poorly with Sean Neelis receiving a red card for this. I mean, it was last man. He's clearly handballed it. Probably a fair red card. Can't argue there, but not good for my So5. However, my boy, Andre Shiny Ashiki, came off the bench to grab an important goal. He's now actually scored more goals this season than he did for the whole of last season, so loving life as a Shiny Ashiki fanboy at the moment. And then Brian Acosta bagged a cheeky assist for Rapids to ensure I edge clear of those 250 points for that second threshold. So hey, they've done their job and added more Ethereum into the club. I think, however, next season in Europe, I'm definitely going to have to pay more attention to my teams and lineups regarding injuries and suspensions, as, you know, I've been lacking on this front in recent times, no question about that, and I have to give myself the best chance of repaying my investment on my new limited cards for next season. And speaking of next season, let's look at the teams that I've spent over £3,000 on. I'll show you all my 2 rare threshold hitting teams first. The hint is in the name there. These are purely designed to be threshold hitting teams and nothing more. Maybe occasionally I might be able to bag a tier 3 or tier 2 card, but I don't expect that too often. Now I've got a threshold team for both America and European leagues to cover a decent scope of the Sorare calendar. My America team is pretty much what you just saw in the recent game week reviews. These players all typically start most weeks for their respective clubs, so should be no drama in hitting the second threshold most weeks for the remainder of the summer months MLS wise. I've got my typical starting 5 up top, but then also any backup options shown below. So in this instance, my Brian Acosta rare. Now my European threshold hitting team is, yeah, that's right, I'm doing it to myself again for another year. A full TS3 Heartbreak stack for next season. Which, although as much as I joke about Heartbreak, even on their less than successful weeks, they usually get around the 250 points required for the second threshold. So the love affair with TS3 Heartbreak goes on, and you can't spell Heartbreak without heart. I mean, you also can't spell it without rage, but I digress. Now I am memeing a bit here. The remains of that rare under 23 stack I was banging on about will likely make up the threshold team here. Fleming, Sugawara and Dalland are my actual strongest options, so they will be interspersed with the Heartbreak lads most likely to bang out those 250 points each week. Definitely interested to see how Fleming gets on now he's at Millwall in the English Championship. That's 46 games of utility right there, so he could be a very useful player for the club if he hits the ground running over there. It's well known I'm a huge Zian Fleming fan, so I'll back him to do well. I think he should be successful there. Looking at my limited teams then, I'll start with my America teams, which I've had for a while now. Really happy with this team. A few months back I spent 0.3 Ethereum combined on Carlos Gil and Almada, and they've over doubled in price since Ethereum wise. Carlos Gil is the verified GOAT of the MLS. His So5 scores are pretty incredible. Stuver and Cascante are a decent So5 defensive combo over at Austin FC. You know, if Cascante would stop being fucking shit at football. Although I guess you could say anyone would be good at So5 if they stopped being shit at football, so And then I'm hoping Russell's form picks up a bit at Sporting Kansas, who have been pretty woeful this season, but I can always swap him out with Rui Diaz, who is a strong option in the second team. Already scored quite a few goals this season and helped Seattle win the Champions League across the pond, so happy to have him as an option if he can avoid injuries. And as I said, there's some strong options around him in Morgan, Wagner, Price and Ivicic. Overall, I think this is a decent filler team that also gives me some options in these special weeklies and some backup for injuries in the main team as well, so yeah, really happy with my America squads right now and for the foreseeable future, I think. Now here's where some of the big bucks were spent, my champion team for next season, and as you can see, I'm fully on the Inter Milan hype train, with Jan Oblak sneaking in there as well for good measure between the posts. Now for me, Oblak is the best goalkeeper on the planet and no one will convince me otherwise. Well, maybe Wojciech Szczesny is the best goalkeeper on the planet actually. Anyway, Inter's goalkeeper situation was a bit up in the air, so happy to go with Oblak in net. Bastoni should call himself Bestoni because he is the best young defender in the Serie A. What a shit joke that was. But I'll tell you what's not a shit joke! My midfield pairing of Brozovic and Çalhanoğlu. Çalhanoğlu specifically picks up some fantastic scores across a season, he really does, so I'm looking forward to having him captain of this team next season. And then Dybala will likely be up top. His transfer saga has been a bit drawn out at this point, so could always look to grab Lautaro Martinez instead, but I'll play that decision more by ear in the closer build up to the start of next season. But overall, fairly strong team here that I think will be able to do rather well a decent amount of the time. I've even then got a backup champion team, definitely not as strong, but I've got Trapp in goal, Skriniar, who I initially signed as part of my Inter stack, but it looks like he'll be moving out of the club onto PSG. And then I've got a mini Frankfurt stack in So, Bore and Kamada. I mean, Frankfurt won the Europa League last year, so clearly they're a good side, but these guys don't often score amazing, so this is definitely more of a backup team or just a mix of players I can put into the special weeklies perhaps. Just happy to have them as additional firepower options in the club. I've even also got Modric and Kramaric as well, mainly for the World Cup, but I'm sure they'll have their parts to play next season in the league campaign as well. So my strong champion team was quite expensive, but I think my strong challenger team that you can see here was even more expensive. I've got a back two from Zagreb of Livakovic and Sutala, bit of World Cup utility there for them as well to continue that Croatia theme. In fact, you can check out my team for the World Cup on another video on my channel, link in the description down below. So yeah, very strong pairing if both Livakovic and Sutalo remain at Zagreb for next season, and I've then got a Celtic midfield of Turnbull and McGregor. Spoke with one of the YouTube goats, Simply Alex, about Celtic's midfield next season, and it's a toss-up over who will be playing in that midfield. Apparently McGregor is a bit of a lock, whereas there's more uncertainty around Turnbull's place in the side. But I've seen him play and know what he can do, and I think he's arguably the best midfielder Celtic have right now, so I was more than happy to get him in the club. And then up top was a huge purchase in Jota, the most expensive limited card I've ever signed, but I mean, look, it's so 5 scores for Celtic last season. He's a beast for them, no doubt. Clearly, he's the Carlos Gil of Scotland. He gets so many decisives to go along with his tidy all-around scores, so more than happy he is leading the line for me here. And I've even then got Maida and Orsic as backup options as well, but all in all, this is a big team. I've also got a backup challenger team of... oh, fuck. They're back. A backup challenger team made up of a TSV Hartberg stack. I mean, look, let's be fair. This team will almost never be used, alright? I have way better options across the board, but hey, they're always there if I'm missing my Hartberg limited lads. And don't get me wrong, they're not terrible. Jurgen Hell's a decent player. Tadic knows where the goal is. And Rennie Sweet is a starting limited goalkeeper at the end of the day, so whatever, they may get their chance in the special weekly sun at points across the season. And then I have this somewhat dogshit under 23 team. I mean, it's not dogshit, but I'm just not too confident with it at all. Hopefully Malin can be in for a big season now that Haaland has moved on from Dortmund. Eric Martel is a top talent, so it'll be interesting to see how he does now he's moved to the Bundesliga. And Lambert, Dalland and Nuruddin or Moser, for instance, are they're all a bit meh, so we'll see what we can do with this team. But, you know, we've got the team, and the team will play. I just don't expect great things from it. But I always have stronger options about in the club that I've just showed in my other teams, such as Bastoni, Sutala, Potter, so, you know, can't rule out a stronger lineup here. And hey, you know what? If this team ever does podium, I'll dye my hair a fucked up colour or something, you know, like, oh, shit, I guess I've already done that. I don't know, I guess I'll do a giveaway instead then. So yeah, those are my teams. That was the title of the video, and we have gone through them. Round of applause if you stuck around this far in the video, because it was fucking long. Comment your thoughts on my teams down below and how shit you think I'll do at So 5 next year. As I say, I've still got a bit of Ethereum in the club, so there's a potential for some of these teams to change slightly going into the season. And of course, like and subscribe, and blah 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 blah. Well, that's the end of the video, so go on. I'll catch you next time.